うん。古い町だって。
All right, welcome to Tacoma Hot Takes. I'm your host, Sam Watson. This is my younger brother, Gabe.
What's up?
So, 2020, what a year already, right?
Yeah,
It's been a long one, to say the least. But we're here to lighten the mood, talk about something a little more slow-paced and down-to-earth. We're here to talk about, as you can tell from the title, New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. Just take a gander. What percentage of Americans do you think keep their resolutions by the end?
Ooh, I feel like that'd be something really low. So I'd say like 8%.
Oh man, you're a pessimist. It's actually 40% by 6 months and 20% say they're successful by the end. So
oh jeez,
it's actually not that bad.
Dang.
But apparently Gen Xers and Boomers, health-related resolutions are at the top of their list, and then over half of millennials have money-related resolutions. So we're just sad and poor, I guess.
Well, other people are just trying to stay alive.
Yeah. And so apparently the most common excuse is that they're lacking willpower, and there's a good chunk that claim they just forget. So we'll chalk it up to laziness, I guess. So how are you doing with your resolutions? What do you got going on?
Okay, so last year I started this thing where the first week of every month I would delete social media for 7 days. And I did it more as a palate cleanser to kind of start fresh in the month. And I'm in school right now, so it kind of helps me regain my focus every single month. But I feel like I've been doing pretty good. Every time I delete social media, a little bit of me, this is kind of urges back and like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. But then once I actually do delete it, and maybe I'm by day 3 or day 4, I realize like, oh wow, like I haven't even noticed I've been away from social media. So
see, I don't know if I could do that, man, just because like I feel like it's a habit now for me. Just like you're flicking through next app, flicking through.
No, for real. So I think the hardest thing for me is, so I you know how you remember the placement on where one of the social medias is, so like say Instagram, for example. So I replaced that with YouTube when I delete it. So
YouTube specifically.
When I scroll through and I click it, I realize I'm on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to go to Instagram, so I ended up just closing the app every single time.
I guess that would kick the habit of that.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point, right? So what I do actually is, instead of a yearly overall resolution, I do it monthly. And that way, it just makes it easier, honestly. But also getting back to the habit thing, like you kick a habit after 30 days or so or whatever. You know? So last year I started doing this, and it worked wonders for me, but I gave up caffeine in the month of January, and it just, it sucked so bad. But once I got over that 2 weeks, man, it just, everything started to clear up. I felt way better, just upward and spry, and I don't know.
Like just naturally awake?
Yeah, it's just cutting it out, I guess.
Jeez. So are you a coffee drinker, or do you drink anything?
Well, I'm drinking tea now, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
In my fancy mug. But anyways, I don't know. I've never liked coffee. What about you?
I love coffee, and I think that a caffeine cleanse would do me wonders. But I also have this thing where I don't drink more than 1 cup of coffee a day because I'm a water drinker.
See, my girlfriend is so bad at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she'll go through 2 or 3 of those suckers. But I feel like that's the problem, right? Like most people go over that 1 cup a day. But
yeah, I actually heard somewhere too. I don't remember where I got the source, but that, like, you know how people claim that coffee kind of gives them energy and things like that. Well, if you drink coffee every day, even if it's like a cup every day, after like 2 or 3 weeks, it just doesn't do anything for you. So I feel like it's a placebo at this point.
Yeah, I could believe it.
So along with the caffeine cleanse, that's kind of what I'm calling it. What else did you do for the little 30-day intervals?
Well, a good portion of them. So it's personal to me, obviously, but I had every month I'll do something new. So in February I'll do no fast food, or I'll do no meat for the month of like probably a summer month. Last month in July I did I forced myself to have a glass of water in between every other drink I had. So if I had tea in the morning, if I had alcohol in the evening, you know, anything, I would just force myself to drink that extra glass of water.
So you're saying that every party you went to, you intentionally couldn't get drunk.
I just like was always waiting in line for the bathroom, man. Just one of those things. But I'd clear as pee, man.
Yeah.
It felt good.
No, at all times too.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning. That one is the most important.
The month I realized I struggled with the most last year was no eating out. I didn't realize how much I actually eat out and just like waste all that extra money, you know. And so this month specifically, I've been doing no eating out or no extra spending money, even like no shopping, because after the holidays, you know, you're just like wanting to chill.
And all the sales are coming out too. I feel like so it's kind of harder.
It is kind of hard, but it's relieving in the sense that I just tell my friends I'm not doing anything this month.
Yeah,
you know, I'm just chilling at home, and it's kind of rewarding, honestly. So not every month is obviously going to be the hardest to do or whatever. You know, I like switching it up. Like every challenge is different, and give myself a break now and again. We're only human, you know, and it allows myself to fail. You know, I'm like not always. It's about changing habits, not always about being so strict on yourself. You know?
Interesting, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people with their New Year's resolutions, they'll get bogged down by, you know, like, oh my God, all year, like, that's impossible. You know, that if you think about it in incremental baby steps, just like one day at a time, you know, sound like an addict over here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, but like, I feel like habits are in a way, depending on what they are an addiction. You know, especially if it's like for me, I'm talking about like coffee every single morning. Like I would classify that at some point or another. Like, yeah, it kind of is an addiction. Yeah. But I think that if you're trying to kick a habit or break an addiction, definitely kind of like what you were saying, like allowing yourself to fail is very important, because I think that when people look at the whole 365 days, or is 2020 366?
Oh, I don't know. Should we know that?
Yeah, we might. But anyway, if you look at that whole thing and realize, like, oh man, this one thing I can't do this whole year, like, that's very scary. But if you take it a day at a time, a week at a time, even for you, like a month at a time, I feel like it'll get easier.
If you achieve those little personal goals of yours, it just makes life better, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, actually, kind of going on the topic of goals. So when I was in high school, I played football, and one thing that we did every week was we had 3 different goals that we would have like an accountability partner for. But the thing with goals is the only way we could make the goal and have someone accountable to us was if the goal was measurable. So instead of being like, oh, I want to study more this week, or I want to look over the playbook more this week, whatever.
Right.
It was, I'm going to spend 30 minutes on Huddle, which was like our little program we used for looking over the plays and like film, or I'm going to spend an extra hour doing homework, or I'm going to say I love you to my family like 3 or more times a day, whatever. Just that way you can write it down and honestly like make a checklist. One, like a step in the right direction should lead to another, but you got to take the first step anyway.
Exactly. Is that the dang cat down? Oh no, he's not in there. We locked him out. Let's go find him.
You go find him?
Yeah, let's go.
There he is.
Found him. Hey, buddy.
I realize his tummy is probably one of his weakest points. Not in like, I'm going to attack it, but you start grabbing it and he starts relaxing.
You're a good boy.
Well, you know who I think has really good ideas of New Year's resolutions and things like that is Marquez.
I don't want to ask that kid.
Oh, he's already here. Marquez, come on in.
Get it. Okay.
We can half cheek it.
So we're talking New Year's resolutions. What have you done in the past? What's worked for you?
So New Year's resolutions for me, honestly, like I've done this thing that like I got picked up at my work. What they do is instead of having like one thing that you'll stick to throughout the whole year, like a certain like, oh, I'm giving up something, or like I want to
Like a
start
habit
doing
or something
something
like
else. It's rather than doing that, instead we'll pick like a word that we'd like to live through in the year. So we call this a word of the year, and my word of the year last year was love, and I ended up doing another one this year, which ended up being discipline for me. Which so it's rather than having something that is, because mostly when you use like New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, it's very easy to like doubt yourself and like to like fall into like old habits of, oh, like I've done this before and like I don't think I'm gonna do this now. But like living in one word of the year is definitely something that can you can detach yourself from like your vision and goals and like how you envisioned what you wanted, but still be able to live throughout what you wanted.
Okay, no, I understand that because like that's something that Sam had referenced earlier. Is kind of you allow yourself to fail, and giving yourself room to fail. It will help you. Honestly, some people, it seems like you could get motivated to even do better, especially when it comes to the word or habit and things like that.
Immensely,
yeah.
What are some specific like instances you remember where you had to like use those words to help you through? You know, like love, like that's kind of generic, but you probably had specific instances where you you had.
No, for sure. I'm glad you asked that. So, originally when I thought of my word love for the word of the year, it was in my mind. I was like, oh, this is gonna be me loving other people and whatnot and stuff like that. And like in the first 3/4 of 2019, it was me like trying to like give that love to other people and show that love to other people. But then later on in that last half of the year, or that last quarter of the year, it ended up being me more of like self-loving myself and stuff like that. So that's something where I detached myself from the original outcome that I anticipated.
Yeah.
And it actually helped me out a lot more, like within my work life, within my social life, and stuff like that. So, like, your word of the year doesn't necessarily always like turn out what you want it to be. Like sometimes you'll find it to be something else, but that something else will be more helpful for you.
That's awesome. So, it's almost like different. It's almost like different resolutions within the same. You know, like discipline could be in work. Discipline could be in gym membership. It could be in I don't know.
No, exactly. Yeah, and it's like however you want to play it out. And that's the great thing about living in your word of the year is it doesn't necessarily always turn out to be the same thing that you want it to be.
And dude, words themselves change their meaning every other day. So if we wanted to, we can throw that curveball out there. But,
so if you had an off day, just discipline yourself to stay in bed.
I can't go to work today. I can't go work out.
I will not. I will not be tempted to go to work today.
Well, I think the word of the year, like that's really cool because Marquez, you were the one that influenced me, I think, the most last year with kind of how often you came back to that. And so I guess for like you, Sam, and I guess whoever's watching this is, I actually chose my own word of the year along with the kind of weekly increment thing. But the word that I wanted to define this year and come back to is integrity. And I know that's a very super deep word that can have a lot of meanings, but personally, I chose that because I realized there's a lot of stuff I could let go under the rug or just kind of go untouched or like not even looked at. And it's kind of that thing where at the end of the day, maybe I want to realize like, oh, like I kept my integrity today. Like one thing I want to do more, I guess like as a measurable aspect of that is to tell the truth more. Because I think that I tell the truth pretty often. However, maybe in the way I tell the truth comes off weird or like I stretch the truth to a degree that makes it look bigger than it actually is.
Or you just feel bad about it afterwards. You know? You're just like, why did I didn't need to exaggerate that. Or,
and I feel like a lot of us too have that where we will tell a lie or we will do something and we'll be like, I don't even understand why I said that. Like it just kind of came out because maybe you were scared or something. I feel like it's always like a gut response almost.
100%.
Well, thanks for ruining our podcast. I guess. This has been a good one, but anyways, tune in next week and we'll talk about something even stupider.
See you guys.